Bonjour, good morning, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. You are watching Eagle News Mornings from Canada. I'm Marco Zerudo coming to you from Toronto, bringing you stories from across the country. Now, maybe you're eating breakfast right now, sit back and relax, but maybe you're getting ready to go out, and if you are, like we always mention, continue to practice social distancing. Let's continue to be responsible so that we can keep ourselves and our loved ones safe. Now, we will do our best to keep you entertained, updated, and most importantly, informed with the news coming from Canada. Now, before we get to the headlines, let's see what the weather looks like there in Manila. AccuWeather is forecasting a high of 28 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. Air quality is excellent. We now check out the weather across Canada. Our weather street scene comes from Surrey, British Columbia. Thank you, Rondell Holgado, for this video. We start off in the West Coast. In Vancouver, it is mostly cloudy at 18 degrees Celsius. Edmonton, mostly cloudy also at 15 degrees. In Calgary, 14 degrees Celsius. In Regina, Saskatchewan, cloudy, 8 degrees. In Winnipeg, also cloudy at 16 degrees Celsius. In Montreal, it is a nice warm 32 degrees, nice and sunny. In Ottawa, also sunny at 31 degrees Celsius. In the Maritimes, Halifax is sunny at 28. Fredericton, sunny at 34. And here in Toronto, a sunny 22 degrees. Now, we start the news program with this. In 2015, Justin Trudeau got elected as the new Prime Minister of Canada, and part of his message was to the world, and this is what he had to say.
To this country's friends all around the world, many of you have worried that Canada has lost its compassionate and constructive voice in the world over the past 10 years. Well, I have a simple message for you. On behalf of 35 million Canadians, we're back.
Canada is back. 5 years ago, as the newly elected Canadian leader, he had plenty of promises about equality, fairness, and opportunity, and that particular message to the world. 5 years later, the Prime Minister this morning tried to save face on what can only be seen, though, as the stinging blow to Justin Trudeau as Canada loses out to Norway and Ireland on the non-permanent UN Security Council seat.
Getting this seat was never an end in itself, but rather a means to an end. A means to ensure that our voice was heard and that our values upheld on the world stage. The bid was certainly one way to achieve this, but it's far from the only way. Moving forward, Canadians can count on us to keep working with our partners to make progress internationally on issues that matter to them. Je tiens tout d'abord à féliciter tous les nouveaux membres non permanents du Conseil de sécurité des Nations unies. Et bien que le Canada n'en fasse pas partie, je voudrais prendre un moment pour parler du travail qu'on a accompli à cet égard. Comme les Canadiens le savent, on travaille sur ce dossier depuis 4 ans. On a décidé de déposer notre candidature parce qu'on y voyait une occasion unique de collaborer avec nos partenaires au sein des Nations unies, de bâtir une paix durable et de réaliser des progrès.
Now, he congratulated the winners and highlighted the progress that Canada has made on the world stage, like the work on global issues such as fighting COVID-19, climate change, peace around the world, and gender equality. He also said that this was an opportunity, trying to get the UN Security non-permanent seat, was an opportunity for Canada to work with their UN partners to address issues that are really important, that really matter. Now, Andrew Scheer, the opposition leader of the government, was more critical of the PM, saying on his Facebook account, he sold out Canada's principles for a personal vanity project and still lost. Now, we have been reporting this for a couple of weeks now, how Canada was trying to get this seat, and Canada did lose in the first round of voting, with Norway securing 130 votes, Ireland 128, and Canada third place at 108. Now, a new app will be available for everyone to use to help them trace the pandemic across Canada to further protect themselves, their loved ones, and all Canadians.
And today, we're taking an important step forward toward containing the virus and safely restarting the economy, led by the Canadian Digital Service and with the help of Shopify, BlackBerry, and the Government of Ontario. We've been working on a nationwide mobile app that will notify users if they've been exposed to COVID-19. We will soon begin testing this app in Ontario. There are already a number of other provinces, including BC, who are working with us on this, but it will be available to everyone in the coming weeks.
Now, of course, this is voluntary, and it will be most effective, though, he says, if all will use it. He tried to simplify, actually, the breakdown of how it's going to work, and the PM described it like this.
Here's how it's going to work. If you test positive for COVID-19, a healthcare professional will help you upload your status anonymously to a national network. Other users who have the app and have been in proximity to you will then be alerted that they've been exposed to someone who's tested positive. The notification will encourage them to reach out to their local public health authorities. At no time will personal information be collected or shared, and no location services will be used. The privacy of Canadians will be fully respected.
Now, with all the different parts of this particular new app, he says the Canadian Digital Services, BlackBerry, Shopify, and the Government of Ontario are the ones leading this project, and testing will start soon. Now, he recognized that other provinces have already used in some form this method, and that this will be adapted for this mobile app, which will be available for everyone nationwide. Now, we go back to the UN Council seat being what the opposition leader called a vanity project. Trudeau was asked to further comment on what he thought about with the results.
Obviously, we would have hoped for a different result yesterday. We've worked very, very hard over these past years to deepen our friendships and create new partnerships on really big issues, from climate change to help for the most vulnerable to women's equality to a range of other issues that is moving the world forward in ways that matter to Canadians both here at home and around the world. Obviously, I was pleased to be able to call Ireland and Norway last night in the morning to congratulate them for a well-run campaign and commit to them that we were going to continue to work with them on all our shared values on the world stage. But the reality was coming in 5 years later than them gave us a delay that we unfortunately weren't able to overcome. I was hoping we would, and we certainly worked hard to do it, but what we were able to do over the few years with this campaign was strengthen and deepen many, many ties and the impact that Canada has around the world in particularly turbulent times. We will remain committed to multilateralism, to engaging constructively and positively in the world, because it's something that matters to Canadians, and it also matters to many, many countries around the world that Canada continues to be present and defending multilateralism.
Now, here at home, Trudeau was asked to comment on the concern of data collection with regards to COVID-19 being both properly collected and maybe even improved to help with the coronavirus recovery, and this is what he had to say.
We know that solid data is the foundation for making the right public policy decisions. This is a very difficult time with COVID-19, where we've had to set up new systems and adjust old systems to better respond, and our focus every step of the way needed to be on getting the help out to Canadians. But at the same time, we've been working closely with Statistics Canada on collecting better data, and we've been working also with the provinces to enable them to get data that is able to be collated at the federal level. We know that we need better data, we need more disaggregated, race-based data, and this is what we continue to work on right now. There's still, as you point out, much improvement to be made, but we are very much focused on understanding how we're doing so that we can get through this even better.
Now, speaking of data collection and the mobile app that they're working on, the PM was asked to compare that to other apps that have already been made in the past and how this, in fact, is an improvement.
Over the past months, we've seen a number of different applications put forward by various jurisdictions around the world that, you're right, didn't really work all that well. Some of the challenges were that these applications needed to sit in the foreground of your phone and therefore drained batteries, and you had to work to keep them active quite regularly. In the past weeks, Apple and Google put out major upgrades to their operating systems that allow this application to work in the background. So you don't have to do anything around this application other than download it. If you test positive, they will plug in a code that alerts any phone that has been close to yours that you have now tested positive. And if you have a phone that alerts you that you may have been in proximity with someone who subsequently tested positive, you can just call public health and they'll work through the next steps that you have to do. It's something you can just download and forget about. And because it's completely anonymous, because it's low maintenance, because it is completely respectful of your privacy, also including no location services or geotagging of any sort, people can be confident that this is a easy measure that they can have to continue to keep us all safe as we reopen, as we get more active. This is an approach that we are confident is going to make a big difference, and Canadians can do this and forget about it.
Now, Trudeau was asked to comment further on this, and he seemed to be really knowledgeable and excited to give the details.
It'll work everywhere across the country. So it's one app for all Canadians, and there are over 30 million smartphones that could take this app in Canada. So we can talk about a significant portion of the Canadian population that could be protected by this app that you can download and then forget about. The second part of it is obviously the national database. There will be a database of randomized codes associated with each smartphone that has this app that will be divided into two columns, those who may have tested positive and those who have not tested positive. So if your phone gets in proximity for a certain amount of time at a certain closeness to another phone, it'll register that it has had contact with that anonymized number. Not a phone number, but an anonymized identifier for the app. A few days later, if that person you were in proximity with tested positive, you will get a notification to reach out to your local health services. So the third part of that app is the local, provincial, or territorial health services that will ensure that when someone tests positive and they have the app is notified that that random number associated with your phone goes into the red column. On top of that, if you are notified that you were, over the past few days, in proximity with someone who then tested positive, you'll be encouraged to call your local health authorities to say, I think I just got an alert that I was in proximity with someone who looks like they just tested positive. What do I do? And the local health authority will walk you through that. And it's completely separate from the app at that point. It's the same thing as if you realize that your grocer that you just had a conversation with 2 days ago suddenly tested positive, and you should probably call your local health authorities. So it's an extra tool that helps people move forward with confidence that we're going to be able to track and trace more of the exposure or the potential sharing of the COVID-19 virus around the country. It is an extra layer of protection that goes on top of everything else we're already doing, and that's why we're encouraging people to download the app once it becomes available in early July.
Now, he continued on to describe what this new app will do and says, though any number of users will be useful, the potential for this will be extremely helpful if most Canadians use it, especially since it's so simple to use. Now, the province of British Columbia reaches out for new ideas in planning the province's recovery. We are joined live with Eagle News correspondent Janet Duazo with more details. Good morning, Janet.
Hi, Marco, and good morning to our viewers. So thank you for that. And as British Columbia is well into the phase 2 of the province's restart plan, the province is seeking individuals' input, ideas, and priorities as a part of its approach in planning for the province's economic recovery. As we all know, COVID-19 affected the province's economy as it did everywhere else globally. with unemployment levels similar to that of the Great Depression. The difference is that this crisis came about in a matter of weeks, whereas the Great Depression in the 1930s took years. In this economic recovery plan, the priority is to get people back to work quickly and safely. The people mostly affected are Indigenous peoples and new Canadians, women, young adults 18 to 35 years old, people earning less than $30 an hour, and service sector workers. In my previous reports, I mentioned the top 3 sectors in British Columbia with the biggest job losses due to COVID-19 are accommodation and food services, retail trade, and construction. So to give us a different viewpoint on this issue, in an article written by Jock Finlayson, Executive Vice President and Chief Policy Officer of the Business Council of British Columbia, many businesses in BC will be greatly affected following the new normal in terms of their overall revenue. For example, additional costs for security personnel and purchasing extra cleaning and sanitation supplies that eventually it will add up to their cost of operating businesses. And with that, some businesses will likely close their doors for good, and some already did in the midst of the pandemic crisis. So despite the government's business support programs, like the federal and provincial programs, they have the temporary wage subsidy, lending programs, tax deferrals, business fatalities in British Columbia by end of 2021 could go up to about 30,000. So this is quite insightful look of the magnitude of the economic shock and the steps needed to contain the virus and the impact on people and businesses. It is really hard to imagine the massive undertaking government and business sectors will have to do in rebuilding the economy. And of course, everything should be done in compliance with prescribed health guidelines and protocols. So Premier John Horgan, Premier of British Columbia, is asking British Columbians to engage in this effort by completing BC's online survey and participating in virtual town halls hosted by the province. The input from the people will help in decision-making in investing $1.5 billion economic recovery fund and in planning for the province's next budget. The province has economic recovery task force consisting of the premier himself, cabinet members, and leaders from business and labor organizations. They will be working on top of the federal programs to ensure the provincial programs are reaching their intended goals and is effective and responsive to the needs of British Columbians. In Victoria, British Columbia, Jeanette Wazo, Eagle News. Will live in interesting times.
Thank you very much for that, Jeanette. We look forward to the results of this measure in British Columbia. Still to come, Canada Day 2020 celebration plans unveiled, what Toronto's school reopening might look like, and in sports, we find out what's happening with the U.S. Open tennis tournament. You are watching Eagle News Mornings from Canada.
Patindi ng patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants.
You're just too good to be true. Open up, you came to get it wrong with a name, I should have drunk you back when I was a child.
Abangan ng kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing.
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC. Dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutri-Chunks. Magnolia Chicken Templados. Delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat. Pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda. Kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate NEPs and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee. Masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matimco, R Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, Sandmix Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sandmix Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The Bulacan Bulk Water Project is a treatment facility that will provide bulk water to the 24 municipalities of Bulacan to meet the increasing water demand of its residents. Through concessionaire, SMC Infrastructure also initiated the significant improvements of the Manila North Harbor Port, the country's busiest port.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutri-Chunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ibang klase ang sarap ng corned beef mo. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Kaya perfect ang sarap. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Welcome back. This is Eagle News Mornings from Canada. I'm Marco Zeruto. Well, it looks like Canada Day 2020 will be a unique and interesting celebration this year. We are joined live with Eagle News correspondent Andre Lajoie, who has the details. Good morning, Andre.
Good morning, Marco. Bonjour tout le monde aux Philippines. Yes, today the Honorable Stephen Guilbeault, Minister of Canadian Heritage, unveiled the program for Canada Day on July 1st. Canadians from coast to coast are invited to take part in an array of virtual celebrations to express our national pride. This year, more than ever, Canada Day is an important national celebration, bringing Canadians together, even if it will be done virtually. It's also time to commemorate some of the key events of the history, and this marks the 40th anniversary of the official adoption of our national anthem, O Canada, and the essential role the Métis Nation played in Manitoba joining the Confederation 150 years ago. The roster of activities draws on what makes Canada strong, its diverse cultures, athletic, artistic excellence, indigenous language and culture, and also the spirit of innovation. However, you join, if like anybody will be able to join in virtual celebration, the kit will be available, interactive and creative, and education activities for the whole family that can enjoy. So you can check it out on the activity packs on the Canada Day website and share the experience with the hashtag Canada Day short videos will be available on Canada Day website on June 29th. so you can experience those inspiring, moving, and captivating moments with Canadians from across the country. Many Canadians, countries, cities, and communities have a virtual celebration, like the Canada Embassy, the Consulate of the High Commission, and also presenting activities worldwide. Hosted by Serena Ryder and Pierre-Yves Lourdes, bring your original artistic and collaboration from all over the country, with stop in Halifax, Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. The night will conclude with highlights of the Best Canada Day from previous years. It's going to be quite a show. Well, the night includes also, during the programming, at 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. local time and 9 o'clock p.m. Atlantic time. So you'll be able to watch on the show, the Canada Day together on CBC or Radio Canada, as well as Canadian Heritage Platform at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So there you go, Marco.
Well, thank you very much for that report, Andre. We look forward to our Canada Day celebrations. Now, Eagle News correspondent April Masongsong reports on what Toronto's school reopening might look like in September.
Schools in Ontario have been closed since mid-March and have been mandated to stay closed for the rest of the school year. The next question is, will schools be open this coming September? Yesterday, the Hospital for Sick Children released its official recommendation to the Ministry of Education of the Government of Ontario. President and CEO of Sick Kids, Dr. Richard Kahn, says that not opening schools in September will continue to have a negative impact on the mental, behavioral, and developmental health of children. In his press conference yesterday, Premier Doug Ford was asked to comment on the concerns of educators in terms of protecting the children and themselves when schools do resume in September. Take a look.
I know Minister Lecce will be rolling out a plan over the next little while to make sure our kids are safe. I will not risk, and I've said it right from day one, I'm not going to risk anything that puts our kids in jeopardy. I'm just not going to do it. And now for the teachers, we're going to make sure we sit down with the unions and discuss a strategy to make sure they feel safe, because they're so important to our children. They're so important to the education system. And I want to thank all the teachers out there. They've done an incredible job through this pandemic with the online courses and getting on there and teaching our kids as we went through this pandemic. But we'll have that discussion with the unions, and I want to thank them, and we'll never do anything to put our children at risk.
According to the document released by Sick Kids, as of June 15, of the 98,605 COVID-19 cases in Canada, only 6% were found in children aged 0 to 19 years old. The document also addresses that the numbers may be low due to the early school closures. Although some of the cases required hospitalization, it is relatively rare and generally treatable in children. There have been no pediatric deaths in Canada to date. Some of the recommendations made by Sick Kids for the schools include screening to prevent symptomatic individuals from entering the school, teaching kids proper hand hygiene, wearing non-medical and medical face masks for children, physical distancing, and limiting the mixing of students and staff. With a couple of months left before the fall semester begins, and along with the fluctuating COVID-19 numbers, the decision to open schools this September is a crucial one, as there is a need to protect the children from the physical and mental toll of this pandemic. In Toronto, April Masongsong, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you for that, April. Great news, tennis fans. The U.S. Open tournament will resume on schedule from August 31st to September 13th, but without fans. With more on that, here is EBC New York correspondent Tennis Umaga with the details. Hello, Tenny.
Hello, Marco. Did you just call me Tennis? Well, the show will go on this summer as the U.S. Open plus the Western and Southern Open will be held at the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center in Queens this summer. A proposed plan by the USTA was approved by New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. Though fans will not be on site to watch the tournament, the USTA will provide ways for fans to engage in the tournament with the help of global sponsorship and tournament sponsorship. Rafael Nadal and other ATP players have expressed concern to travel to New York due to the coronavirus pandemic. However, Serena Williams is set to participate in the tournament and eye for her 24th Grand Slam title. And your neighbor, Marco, Bianca Andreescu from Mississauga, Ontario, will defend her title this summer. For Eagle News, I'm Tenny Samagi. We live in interesting times.
Thank you very much for that report, Tenny. To see more sports discussions, tune into EBC Sports International Home Edition. Lots of talk, lots of debate, and lots of interesting conversations. You can find them on Eagle News PH, YouTube, and on Facebook. More great programming from EBC. Well, that's our program for today. On behalf of the team, we will continue to keep you updated, entertained, and most importantly, informed so that you can continue to keep yourself safe, your families, and your friends. Thank you for watching. Salamat po sa panonood in Toronto. Marco Zerudo, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Bonjour, good morning, magandang umaga. Stay tuned for Agila Balita, hosted by Maricar Velasco.
Thank you, Marco. See you next week.
Take care.
Ang mga pangunahing balita sa loob at labas ng bansa. Tinagit at kinalap ng Agila News Team. Agila Balita.
Narito ang may init na balita. Ngayon ay Biyernes, Hunyo 19, 2020. Sa ulo ng mga balita. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III pinagbabakasyon muna ng mga senador habang isinasagawa ng Ombudsman ang investigasyon sa kanyang COVID-19 response. Coronavirus cases sa bansa umabot na sa 27,799. Bilang naman ng recoveries lumampas na sa 7,000. At sa ating balitang abroad, 6 na sundalo ng Colombia ang patay. 8 iba pa ang nasugatan sa sagupaang naganap sa pagitan ng Colombian Army at FARC rebels. Ako ang inyong magiging tagapaghatid balita. Ako po si Maricar Velasco. Sa detalye ng mga balita, pinagbabakasyon muna ng mga senador si Health Secretary Francisco Duque III habang isinasagawa ng Ombudsman ang investigasyon sa kanyang COVID-19 response. Nagpahayag din ng pagkadismaya ang ilang senador saan nila ay kakulangan ng foresight ng kalihim para labanan ang pandemya. Si Mayan Corvera sa detalye.
Pinagbabakasyon muna ni Senador Sherwin Gatchalian si Health Secretary Francisco Duque III habang may ginagawang investigasyon ng Ombudsman. Nauna nang nagdesisyon si Ombudsman Samuel Martires na paimbestigahan si Duque at iba pang opisyal ng DOH kaugnay ng ginawang pagtugon sa COVID pandemic. Sinabi ni Gatchalian ang leave of absence ni Duque ang pinakamabuting hakbang para hindi maimpluwensyahan ang pagsisiyasat sa mga aligasyon ng irregularidad sa DOH. Aminado naman ang senador na nagkulang sa foresight at mga ginawang hakbang si Duque para labanan ang pandemya. Ito'y kahit pa binigyan siya ng sapat na kapangyarihan ng Pangulo para gumawa ng hakbang at mapigilan ang pagkalat ng sakit sa Pilipinas. Katunayan, Enero pa lang ay inatasan na ito ng Pangulo na magtatag ng mga COVID center para doon posibleng maharang ang mga nagkaroon ng human transmission pero ginawa ito ng DOH noong Abril kung kailan marami na ang kaso.
Ganitong pandemic, importante yung foresight. Ano ba yung mangyayari after 3 months? Ano ba yung mangyayari after 6 months? Gawin na natin yung dapat natin gawin para maiwasan natin yung mangyayari 3 months or 6 months down the road. That is how you address a pandemic, touted as a new epicenter. If you look at the testing capacity doon, ang baba pa rin.
Dismayado si Gatchalian dahil hanggang ngayon mababa ang testing capacity ng gobyerno. Pero sa halip na akuin ang responsibilidad, ipinapasa ni Duque ang sisi sa mga opisyal ng tanggapan.
If you remember, during the first meetings ng IATA, which the President, I clearly remember, sabi ni President, Secretary Duque, ikaw ang boss dito. No, kung anong sabihin mo, gagawin natin. I think that was around February, no, when nagbi-build up na ito. That means Secretary Duque was given a lot of authority and a lot of leeway to suggest to the President on what measures we should take to address the potential pandemic. At that time, potential pa lang. Clearly, this is a health matter. No? Ito mga nangyayari natin economically, ano na lang to kumbaga, resulta to ng health problems natin. So my point of the matter there is, noong February, meron tayong pinaka-best time to set up testing laboratories, testing isolation centers, empower the local government. Pero hindi nangyari. Yung nangyari na lang yun, April. At hanggang ngayon, makikita natin yung testing capacity natin, napako na tayo sa 10,000 level, which, again, no, hindi natin ma-address itong pandemic kung wala tayong testing capacities. Actually, paulit-ulit na lang itong mga sinasabi ng legislators, pero the point of the matter is, nandiyan pa rin, hindi tayo gumagalaw.
Nakakabahala rin ayon sa senador na patuloy ang pagtaas ng kaso na nagkakaroon ng COVID-19 kung kailan pa inilagay na ng Interagency Task Force sa General Community Quarantine ang maraming lugar kabilang na ang Metro Manila.
Is happening in our communities. So my assessment is we still have to continue with our endeavor with testings. Continue to press the public to be careful and be conservative, especially when it comes to gatherings. Natuklasan din namin yung mga positive cases namin, almost 80% galing sa gatherings. Nagkainan, nagkita-kita, nag-meeting. So we have to avoid gatherings. I'm trying not to believe that the second wave is coming. But the numbers, napako tayo sa 300 to 400 cases a day nung nag-GCQ tayo.
Para sa Eagle News, may Ann Corbera, we live in interesting times.
Umakyat na sa 27,799 ang kabuang bilang ng COVID-19 cases na naitala sa bansa. Ito ay matapos makapagtala ang Department of Health ng 562 na karagdagan pang kaso. Sa mga bagong bilang na ito ay 481 ang fresh cases habang 81 naman ang late cases. Sa mga fresh cases, 120 ang mula sa National Capital Region, 273 mula sa Region 7 at ang 88 naman ay mula sa iba pang lugar sa bansa. Sa mga late cases naman, ang 33 ay mula sa NCR, 26 mula sa Region 7 at 22 naman sa iba't ibang lugar sa bansa. May naitala namang 270 na naka-recover mula sa sakit. Dahil dito, umakyat na sa 7,090 ang bilang ng mga pasyenteng gumaling mula sa virus. May siyam namang naitalang panibagong nasawi dahil sa COVID-19. Kaya sa ngayon, umabot na sa 1,116 ang kabuang bilang ng namatay dahil sa COVID-19 sa bansa. Isinailalim na sa 48 oras na lockdown ang ilang barangay sa lungsod ng Maynila simula kaninang hating gabi. Kabilang sa isinailalim sa lockdown ay ang Barangay 60 Zone 5 at Barangay 163 Zone 14 na kapwa sakop ng Tondo at Barangay 844 Zone 92 na sakop naman ng Pandakan. Ang lockdown ay tatagal hanggang 11:59 ng gabi ng Hunyo 20, araw ng Sabado. Kaugnay nito, tiniyak ng kapitan ng Barangay 60 Zone 5 na si Ronaldo Torres na bago magsimula ang lockdown ay nakapamahagi na sila ng food packs sa mga residente.
Actually, before lockdown, we have prepared at least canned goods and rice para po sa ating mga residents, especially to our indigents in our community. Naka-prepare po ako dyan. Kanina po nag-conduct na po kami ng distribution per family. More or less, our 700 families provided. It's either indigent or rich, o basta nakatira ka dito at kumuha ka rito, we will be provide to you our goods. For 700 families, we provide 800 food packs for sure lang.
Habang umiiral ang lockdown, sasamantalahin anya nila ito para makapagsagawa ng COVID-19 mass testing sa mga residente.
We will be conducting our mass testing for rapid tests. Tomorrow, siguro yung mga nearest na bahay sa malalapit na kapitbahay ng mga nagkaroon ng COVID-19 or PUI dito sa area, sila yung munang priority. After that, the barangay officer and the tanods will be the second to test, After that, yung mga nag-work tsaka balik probinsya and the rest. Yun po siguro. Kung ilan po yung aabutin ng ating rapid testing kasi nasa 200 to 300 po ang ating expected na padadala sa atin.
Iginiit ni Torres na mahalaga ang lockdown na ito upang matukoy kung may iba pang residente sa kanilang barangay ang nahawa na rin ng virus upang agad silang ma-isolate at masiguro ang kaligtasan ng iba pang residente. Nasa mahigit 20 katao anya ang nagpositibo sa COVID-19 sa kanilang barangay, 3 sa mga ito ang nasawi.
Total positive cases ko nasa 21 to 22 individual. Opo, ang ano po dyan, ang 8 still existing in our area, Nasa bahay sila at under sila ng quarantine sa akin. Asymptomatic naman sila lahat. At yung 3 nasa isolation sa may Pasig. Tapos yung the rest, actually there are negatives na for the swab test. Gumaling na yung iba, pati yung isang critical. At may 3 kaming namatay.
Naabutan rin ng Eagle News team na nagsasagawa ng flushing operation sa mga kalsada bilang paghahanda sa lockdown. Ang ilang residente pabor naman na isailalim sa lockdown ang kanilang barangay upang hindi na lumala pa ang COVID-19 situation sa kanilang lugar.
Masakit nga lang po, pag yung hindi tayo nag-lockdown tapos mangyayari, kumalat lang, lalo-lala lang sitwasyon. Di bali yung i-lockdown, ayos lang mo yun, walang problema.
Batay sa kautusan ni Manila Mayor Isko Moreno, habang umiiral ang lockdown ay bawal munang lumabas sa kani-kanilang bahay ang mga residente. Maliban sa mga health workers, iba pang frontliners at mga nagtatrabaho sa essential services. Umarangkada na ang Mobile Rapid Testing Unit on Wheels sa Quezon City. Pinangunahan ng Rotary International D3780 ang nasabing proyekto para sa libreng rapid testing sa mga frontliners sa lungsod. Ayon kay Bagong Henerasyon Party List Representative Bernadette Herrera D, ang Mobile Rapid Testing Unit on Wheels ay unang idineploy sa Barangay Manresa kung saan ay 206 na residents at vendors kasama ang 70 barangay frontliners at 30 police and military personnel ang isinilalim sa test. Mula naman sa mahigit 300 residents at frontliners, 13 ang nagpositibo sa COVID-19. Agarang inihawalay ang mga ito bilang pagsunod sa protocols ng Department of Health at isinailalim sa confirmatory test na inaasahang lalabas ang resulta sa mga susunod na araw. Ang nasabing proyekto ay magpapatuloy hanggang sa matapos na maisailalim sa rapid testing ang 142 na barangays ng Quezon City. Pinangunahan ni Senator Richard Gordon Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III at ang OWA ng send-off ceremony at pagpapauwi sa mga OFW sa Parañaque Integrated Terminal. Ayon kay Gordon, naiwasan na ang matagal na pagkaka-stranded ng mga OFW sa Metro Manila dahil pinabilis na ang kanilang sistema. Pagdating sa airport, agad isinailalim sa swab test ang mga OFWs at kapag nagnegatibo ay makakauwi na sila sa mga probinsya sa loob ng 3 araw.
Metro Manila.
Samantala, nagbigay naman ang DSWD ng 2,000 tulong pinansyal sa mga OFWs. Ayon kay Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello, binigyan na rin sila ng 10,000 pisong ayuda ng pamahalaan. Ina-assess na anya ng OWA ang maaaring mga negosyo na maaaring ibigay sa kanila pag uwi ng probinsya. Sa ngayon, maaari anya silang mabigyan ng puhunan hanggang 20,000 pesos nang walang babayaran. Inaasahan ng DOLE na aabot na lang sa 16 ang darating na OFWs mula sa iba't ibang bansa na na-stranded dahil sa pandemya. Susunod, Meralco consumers nagrereklamo sa dobleng bayarin sa kuryente. Ang detalye na yan sa pagbabalik ng Agila Balita sa umaga.
Agila Balita.
Patindi ng patindi.
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved Nutrichunks, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutrichunks. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matimco, R Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Agila Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, San-Made Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! San-Made Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The successful development of TPLEX, or Tarlac Pangasinan La Union Expressway in 2009, a 4-lane toll road that extends from Tarlac City to Rosario La Union, with an additional approved extension of 56 kilometers all the way to San Juan La Union. This is expected to reduce travel time to Baguio and other provinces in northern Luzon. Realizing the vision of creating a better world for Filipinos fueled the team's focus.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutrichunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutrichunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Ilang Meralco consumers na kakatatanggap lang ng kanilang electric bills, hindi pa rin naiwasang magulat sa taas ng kanilang bayarin. Si Eden Santos sa detalye.
Bagaman ilang linggo na sa mga balita ang inirereklamong mataas na electric bill, ikinagulat pa rin ng ilang customer ng Meralco ang halos dobling bayarin nila sa kuryente. Si Emelinda Pineda, nakakatanggap lang ng billing mula sa Meralco, ay hindi na iwasang magtaka dahil sa halip na bumaba ang kanilang bayarin, ay pataas ito ng pataas simula Marso hanggang Mayo. Anya, noong wala pang COVID-19 pandemic at bukas pa ang kanilang laundry business, ay naglalaro sa 2,000 hanggang 3,000 pesos ang kanilang monthly bill sa kuryente.
Sa ngayon po ay medyo tumaas ang namin, ang billing ng kuryente namin. Unlike before na ang aming business is open, nang wala pang COVID-19 na yan, ay medyo mababa lang. So ngayon, bakit nagtataka ko at tumaas itong aming bill? Hindi naman naka-open ang aming business dahil sa ng COVID-19 na yan. Ano bang business niyo? Sa laundry kami.
Wala rin silang air-conditioned unit na isa pa sa kinakatwiran ng Meralco sa pagtaas ng konsumo sa kuryente ng publiko sa gitna ng COVID-19.
Ngayon may COVID, ang namin actually, ang mga TV hindi naman namin nabubuksan dahil nga wala namang mapapanood na maayos. So ang naman namin is like nung wala pang COVID na yan, ang ref namin is open at yung ibang mga pero mababa ang aming konsumo. Kasama na yung aming washing machine, ang aming laundry shop.
Kinwestiyon din ng isa pang customer ng Meralco na tumangging magpa-interview ang napakataas na konsumo nila sa kuryente. Batay kasi sa meter reading, nasa 129 kilowatt-hour ang konsumo nila noong March to April 2020. Subalit pagdating ng April to May ay naging 299 kilowatt-hour. Tulad ni Melinda ay hindi rin sila halos nanonood ng TV dahil walang bagong palabas, bukod pa sa wala naman silang gaanong appliances na malakas kumonsumo ng kuryente tulad ng aircon. Pero kailangan nilang magbayad ng halos 5,000 piso para sa March hanggang May billing period. Swerte naman ng isang customer ng Meralco dahil nasa mahigit 5 piso lang ang bayarin niya sa bawat buwan o kabuang 16 pesos and 92 centavos sa March to May billing period. Na-lockdown kasi ito sa ibang lugar kaya hindi nakauwi sa kanilang bahay dahilan upang hindi umikot ang metro ng kanyang kuryente. Panawagan ng mga ito sa gobyerno, ipasiyasat na mabuti sa mga kaukulang ahensya ang umano'y hindi makatarungang mataas na electricity bill na ipinataw ng Meralco sa kanilang mga consumer. Una nang ipinaliwanag ni Meralco spokesperson Josel Daryaga na mataas ang konsumo sa kuryente dahil halos lahat ng mga tao ay nasa bahay dahil sa enhanced community quarantine. Para sa Eagle News, Eden Santos, we live in interesting times.
Aprobado na ng Defeat COVID-19 Committee New Normal Cluster ang isinusulong na Recovery Assistance Package para sa lahat ng mga guro at estudyante sa bansa na apektado ng COVID-19 pandemic. Sa House Bill 6706 na inakda ni Baguio City Representative Mark Co, layo nito na bigyan ng tulong ang mga guro at mga mag-aaral para sa ipapatupad na flexible at blended learning sa gitna na rin ng national health crisis. Sa ilalim ng panukala ay mangangailangan ng 38 billion pesos para sa flexible at blended learning. Ilalaan ng 1.70 billion pesos na pondo para sa higher education institutions habang 502.40 million pesos naman sa technical vocational institutions na may 0% loan para sa pagbili ng laptops, tablets o ibang gadgets na gagamitin sa pagtuturo at pag-aaral. Pinatitiyak din sa panukala ang stable internet connection, gayon din ang pagbibigay ng tools na maaaring magamit ng mga teaching personnel at pagsasailalim sa kanila sa trainings o pagsasanay para sa new normal. Inaasahang makikinabang dito ang 300,000 na mga estudyante at higher education at 30,000 sa tech-voc institutions.
Over the past few years, as we have made strides in improving the quality and accessibility of higher education and technical and vocational education and training for Filipinos, to allow this pandemic to erode all that we have achieved and impede our growth in terms of upholding the standards of higher and tech-voc education and protecting the welfare of students and personnel is an injustice against a future that rests on an empowered and competent citizenry. It is in this regard that this representation proposes that we extend a helping hand for institutions and cast a safety net for students and school personnel in the form of a recovery assistance package. Classes in tertiary education are set to resume in August, subject of course to the prevailing circumstances even then. As such, the months leading to the opening of classes must be utilized to prepare the schools and the students in the development and adoption of a flexible learning system. Flexible learning refers to the use of digital and non-digital learning modalities and interventions in delivering higher technical and vocational education and training to our learners. This migration from purely traditional face-to-face learning, which is imperative under the new
Aabot sa 1 milyong pisong halaga ng shabu ang nasabat ng mga tauhan ng PIDEA sa ikinasang buy-bust operation sa Taguig City. Ang mga suspect nagtangkapang tumakas at binangga ang sasakyan ng mga operatiba. Ang detalye na yan sa report ni Mar Gabriel.
Viral sa social media ang kuha ng dashcam ng isang motorista sa kahabaan ng C5 sa harap ng Heritage Park sa Taguig City, bandang alas 12 ng tanghali kahapon. Makikita sa video ang pagkat ng kotse sa kulay puting SUV na tila may tinatakasan. Maya-maya dumating ang dalawa pang sasakyan at pinaputukan ng pulang SUV. Hindi na nakita ang mga sumunod na pangyayari dahil sa takot ng motorista na agad umatras palayo. Kinumpirma naman ng Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency o ng PIDEA na lehitimong operasyon ang nakuhanan sa video. Isa raw itong buy-bust operation na ikinasa ng kanilang Special Enforcement Service. Base sa inisyal na report, nagpanggap na bibili ng droga ang isa sa mga tauhan ng PIDEA at nagkasundo na magkita sa lugar. Pero nakahalata raw ang mga sospek na sakay ng kulay pulang SUV ng mga operatiba ang kanilang katransaksyon, kaya binangga nila ang sasakyan ng mga ito at nagtangkang tumakas. Agad naman silang na-corner ng iba pang operatiba na nakaabang lang sa di kalayuan at pinaputukan ng gulong ng sasakyan at dito na naaresto ang mga sospek. Nakilala ang mga ito na sina Edwin Pascual, Byron Flores at si Alan Mendoza. Nabawi sa kanila ang 200 gramo ng shabu na tinatayang nagkakahalaga ng 1 milyong piso, mga drug paraphernalia at ang ginamit na mark money. Naharap ang mga sospek sa kasong paglabag sa Section 5, 11 at 12 ng RA 9165 o ang Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. Para sa Eagle News, Mar Gabriel, we live in interesting times.
Mga pangyayari sa labas ng bansa. Balita Abroad.
6 na sundalo ng Colombia ang nasawi habang 8 iba pa ang nasugatan sa sagupaang naganap sa pagitan ng Colombian Army at FARC rebels. Ayon sa Colombian Army, nagsagawa sila ng operasyon laban sa grupo ng isang Alvaro Boyaco, leader ng breakaway group ng dating FARC guerrillas na tumangging sumunod sa 2016 peace deal. Nangyari ang sagupaan sa Central Meta Department at nagpapatuloy pa rin ang labanan. Sinasabing nasa 2,300 at bilang ng mga rebeldeng habang nasa 13,000 na ang nagdisarma at nakibahagi sa peace accord. Samantala, kinumpirma rin ni Colombia President Ivan Duque na 6 na sundalo ang nasawi sa paglaban sa mga drug traffickers na pawang mga FARC dissidents.
6 hombres entregados al servicio de la patria fallecieron enfrentando el narcotráfico, protegiendo nuestra selva. 8 hombres resultaron heridos, atacados vilmente por el narcotráfico. Mi solidaridad una vez más a las familias y los seguiremos enfrentando a los criminales que han producido estos hechos lamentables.
At yan ang naging kabuuan ng ating may init na balita. Sa pangalan ng ating mga kaagapay sa Eagle News Service, ako po si Maricar Velasco and we live in interesting times. Susunod na ang programang Saganang Mamamayan kasama sina Congressman Dante Marcoleta at Jensu Borjaga.
Sumainyo ang mga balitang kinarap, maingat na isinulat at